Hi everybody. Well, today I'm going to show you how to make a 2-pound cinnamon loaf using the Hamilton Beach bread machine. My bread machine came with a bread pan, 2 paddles, and a recipe book. To do the 2-pound loaf, you need the 1 bread pan and of course 1 paddle and your recipe. So this is the recipe here. If you want to learn how to make this bread, please stay tuned. Okay, so I have portioned out my ingredients according to the recipe. Now, if you are new to using the Hamilton Beach bread machine, you must first put in your paddle before you do anything else. Right, first step is to put in your paddle. Now, before you bake the bread, you must do it in 3 steps for it to come out properly. And according to the manual, the first step is that you must add all your liquids, then you add your solids, and the last step is to add the yeast. So our first step we are going to do is add all our liquids. So the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of water. So I have already portioned that out, so I'm just going to add that now. 1.5 cups of water. We are doing all our liquids first. And then the other part of the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of butter or vegetable oil. I always make all my breads using healthy oils. So in this case, I have used canola oil. I normally make the bread using canola oil or olive oil. So in this case, I am using 3 tablespoons of Jay's canola oil. So you add that there to your liquids. Now the ingredient list will be added to the description box below. So I will just say them, and then you can look in the description link below to get the ingredient list as to what to put in it. Alright, after you've added your liquids, our next step will be, let me just move this out of the way. Your next step will now be adding all the solid ingredients. Now, one thing to note is that I get a smooth bread when I add them in the corners of the pan. If you just mix them up, sometimes they mix up and they don't mix well. So what I do, I portion out everything and then I put them in the corners of the pan and then add the flour and the yeast last. So the next thing on our list is 2 teaspoons of salt. So salt, 2 teaspoons of salt, I add it to the corner. Right? 2 teaspoons of salt. Bear with me, I have to add this and use the camera at the same time. And then we have 1/4 cup of sugar. So 1/4 cup of sugar, I'm going to add that in the next corner there. Right? Then the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So we have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm going to put this in another corner. And milk, 2 tablespoons of dry non-fat milk. So this is my, now one good thing is that I always use low-fat milk. I try to get things as healthy as much as possible. So I put that. So if you notice, I've added them to the 4 corners. You see it 4 corners in the pan, right? And now we are going to add the flour. All my mixing bowls are in use, so I have to use my ice cream bucket. Right. So we're gonna add the flour now. This is 4 cups of flour here. Of course, the 1.5 pound loaf is going to call for a different amount of flour, but this is a 2-pound loaf that I'm making. It's challenging to hold this and the camera at the same time. Just gonna add that in there. Hope you can see it. Right, so that's that. I've added in the flour. And we have to put in the yeast last. So normally when you're going to put in the yeast, the manual tells you to make a little hole in the center of the top of the flour. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm making a little hole right here, because the yeast is not supposed to come into contact with any of your liquids, or yes, any of your liquids. So I made the mound. So you see the mound right there? You put the yeast in that little mound. Right, and basically that's what you do when you come to your ingredients. I'm now going to take this over to the bread machine. So give me 1 minute and then I'll be right back. One thing to note, when you're using these bread machines, they wobble. So you normally have to put it on a flat surface and put it in a little bit so that it gives it enough room for it to wiggle, so it wouldn't fall off the counter and fall on the ground, because you don't want that happening. So I've now put the bread pan inside of the machine. Ensure that when you put your bread pan in the machine that you lock it. So we lock it by normally turning it clockwise. So now it's locked, so if you try to pull on it, it's not going to come out. And then you close down the lid. Then you close down the lid to make sure that it is sturdy enough. Next thing you do is to plug in your bread machine. So I'm just going to plug this in right now. When you plug it in, a blue light will come on, and on it you will see some instructions here. Now I want a medium crust. This is for cycle, crust and loaf size. So this cycle is going to tell you, you'll see a number here for the cycle to tell you what number to put it on. Then you will see this crust button is to change it between light, medium or dark. And the loaf size is to switch between 1.5 and 2 pounds. So for me, I want a medium crust. So my crust has already been adjusted to medium, and I want a 2 pound loaf. So I have already pressed my loaf size as 2 pounds. Because it is a sweet recipe, I have to change the cycle to cycle 5. So I'm just going to press this up. Now, as I change the cycle, you'd realize that the timing is here. So this cinnamon loaf is going to take 2 hours and 55 minutes to be completed. So after I've pressed in the cycle and the time, now I press the start-stop button, and it will start to whirl and the process will run. So from now until 2 hours and 55 minutes, I will give you brief updates as to how it goes. So please stay tuned. So 1 hour and some minutes have passed. And if you can see, I don't want to raise the counter up, but as you can see, there is some condensation on the top of the oven, but the bread is on the inside and it is raising. Oh, wow. 2 hours have gone and 2 minutes. And as you can see, that's the dough right here. Now this is one big bread. It has blown up so much. Wow. All right, so we have 53 more minutes to go. Keep it there. So it's 1 minute left for the bread, and it will be almost completed. This is what it looks like. It almost touched the top and bounced back down. Oh, and when it's finished, this is what you hear, several beeps. So I'm not going to take it out, and then I will show you guys what it looks like. The 2 pound loaf is now completed, and this is how big it is, and this is what it looks like. So happy that I decided to try this recipe. It came out really well. And I cut it, and this is what it came out like. That's gonna be yummy. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I hope that this was helpful.